you are here today. So before I get into anything, let me tell you something that why I choose this webinar topic. When my teammates asked me to pick a topic for the webinar for one, actually this is my first webinar. When they asked, without a second choice, I choose how to create a winning newsletter in Zoho campaign. Because when I started building a Spikra's own newsletter, I went deep into the research how to do it right. And when I found honestly surprised me. Email is one of the most powerful channels any business can have. Like genuinely one of the highest ROI channel out there. But most brands, and I mean most, are doing it completely wrong. Wrong setup, wrong structure, wrong approach, and they do not even know it. That realization is what made me decide this has to be my first webinar. This is something people need to hear. And when we announced it, honestly, the response confirmed everything. The registration came in faster and higher than any of our previous webinar. That is when it hit me, people actually need this, and made me want to make sure today genuinely useful for everyone here. So that is why we are here. Without wasting the time, let's go into the webinar. I already told why I choose this webinar. So let's move on to the first slide of our webinar. Email is the only channel that actually reaches your customer. So let me start with something that I think most people know but never really sit with. Every business, whether you are a 10% team or a 300% team, every company touches its customer through the same channels. Social media, WhatsApp, ads, email, we all use this. But there is something everyone need to know. Actually, every channel has some flaws. Let's say for social media, the algorithm decides who see you. You can post something brilliant and reaches 3% of your followers. The rest never see it. You are the mercy of the platform. And ads, the moment you stop paying, you stop existing. Thus again, your thus again your budget runs out, your visibility disappears. WhatsApp. I love WhatsApp, but you know what's happened. It gets buried. Someone has a 47 unread messages in a group. Your messages is somewhere in the middle of the course. Let's say in WhatsApp you have your personal contacts, your college groups, school groups, your colleagues group, especially the colleagues groups out of the office. Right? Eventually, you get a lot of messages from these groups and get buried under the messages. So that's why email is different. email lands differently in your space of your customer, where your targeted targeted customer audience actually get your newsletter in their preferred inboxes. Now, within email, the most powerful format, the one that actually builds a relationship over time, is the newsletter. Not a one-time promotion, not a discount code, a proper newsletter that shows up consistently, builds your brand in the mid of leads who are not ready yet, brings backlinks, you have a gone quiet, brings the trust that no single ad campaign can can manufacture. That is what we are building today. But before we get into how to build it, I want to show you something. Look at the number 21%. This is the average email open rate for SMEs, which means 79 out of every 100 people you are mailing are not opening it. 79 people out of 100. Now, here is a part that gets most people. When they see this number, they think, okay, I need to write a better content. But then the content never even got a chance. 79% of your audience never opened the email. They never saw the content. The problem is not what is inside the email. The problem is everything that happens before someone decides to open it. And that is exactly what today is about. We are not just going to take about a writing newsletter. We are going to fix the entire process from how your list is set up, to the template, to the subject line, to the moment you hit send, to what you read in the report, and especially what the special effort which stand out you from everyone. That 21%. By the end of the today, you will know exactly what it takes to beat it. Let's move on to the next slide. The most important thing, the 5 pillars of a winning newsletter. Think of this as 5 things every winning newsletter is built on. Pillar 1. Pillar 1. Organizing your mail list and the segments. This is the foundation. Everything else depends on getting this right first. Pillar 2. Building a template that performs not just to look good, actually performs. Pillar 3. Crafting subject lines that demands to be open. This is the single biggest lever most teams are not pulling correctly. Pillar 4. Scheduling and the deliverability. Sending at the right time and making sure you actually land in the inbox, not the spam folder. Pillar 5. Reading your campaign reports and knowing what to do with the numbers. We are going through all 5 today, and each one I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like inside the Zoho campaign. Let's start with the foundation. Your list is only as good as how it's organized. The number one mistake I've seen SMEs teams make this email marketing, especially the newsletter marketing, was they have a one list for everyone: leads, clients, cold contacts, warm contacts, all in a one place. Everyone gets the same email, same message, everything. And that is exactly why results suffer. Think about it from the reader's perspective. You have your contact who just signed up to hear from you for the first time, and you have a client who has been with you for 2 years. Do they need the same message? Of course not. The client does not need to be convinced to trust you. The real lead does not need an advanced tip that assumes they already know your product. Sending the same email to both of them is the reason both of them disconnect from you. Segmentation fixes this completely. When your segment, your list, leads actively contact contacts, warm contacts, you send each group exactly what is relevant to them. Your open rates go up because messages feels like it was written for the specific person, because it was segmented correctly. Okay, let me show you this inside a Zoho campaign later. So we just move on to the next slide. The next slide was template. Now I want to say something here that I think it is important. This is the biggest difference between a newsletter that looks good and one that actually performs. There are not the same thing, and most teams designs for looks. They should be designing for readability and actions. Let me break down the four parts of a winning newsletter templates. The header. The header, your reader should see your head, see your brand name. So in about 2 seconds, who this email is for. The logo, brand color, maybe a tagline. That is it. Clean and recognizable. Brand recognition in 2 seconds, which is done with your header, the body. One clear message per email. This is the one the teams get wrong most consistently. They try to put three announcements, two tips, and a product update all in one newsletter. The reader attention gets splitted and they end up acting on nothing. One newsletter, one message. That is the rule. The CTA. The CTA, one action, not five. If you want them to register for your webinar, that is the CTA. Not register for the webinar and follow us on LinkedIn and read this blog and check out this offer. No, no, no. Pick one, make it impossible to miss. And the final one is the footer. This is where most people put their unsubscribe link and contact details. But your footer is also a trust signal. Your company name, your address, social links. This tells the reader this is a legitimate business. Tells the reader about your brand's value. So do not skip the footer. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. And the third pillar is subject line. And honestly, this might be the most important one. Your subject line is the door, everything else, the template, the content, the CTA is above, is inside. But if nobody opens the door, none of that matters. And look at the formula on the screen. Curiosity plus relevance plus specificity equals open. Let me break down that one by one. Curiosity means that subject line makes them want to. It creates a small gap in their mind. I need to open this to find out relevance. Relevance means it speaks directly to something they care about, not your business, that problem, that question, that situation. Specificity, it means not vague. The more specific your subject line, the more it feels like it was written for the one person. When you combine all these three, curiosity, relevance, specificity, to get a subject line that is genuinely hard to ignore. Okay, let's move on to the example for this subject line so that you can easily understand it. Look at the bad example. 2025. Who is the far? It's a vague. It is company centric. It gives the reader zero reason to open it. They already know it is a feel personal. If the answer to any of those is a no, rewrite it again and again. Actually, you have to do A/B testing more with your subject line. That's where your newsletters stand out, and you actually know which which gonna work and which gonna not work. And keep it under 9 words. Anything longer gets cut off a mobile version, and your readers are mostly on mobile. Maybe it's completely according to your target audience. If your target audience are mostly in mobile, so make sure the subject line is under 9 words. Let's move on to the next slide. All right, pillar 4, scheduling and deliverability. This is the one most team completely ignore and then wonder why their email are landing in spam. Let's start with the timing because best days to send should be important for sending the newsletter. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. These are consistently the highest performing days across industries. Monday mornings, people are catching up on the week, and Friday afternoons, people have already mentally clocked it out. So, best time are 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. your recipient's time zone. This is when people are settled into their day, have cleared their urgent messages, and are actually reading emails with attention. Actually, Zoho campaigns have a feature called send time optimization, which is actually analyzes your contact past behavior and send the email at the time they are mostly like to open it individually. That is worth turning on. Let's move on to the next slide. Now, the deliverability. This is the technical side, but I'm going to make it simple. There are 5 things you need to check before you sending the newsletter. Think of it your pre-flight checklist. First, verify the sender domain. Your email needs to be sent from your own domain. Let's say your name at your company.com, not Gmail, not Yahoo, your own domain with SPF, DKIM, and DMRC records. It all to be set up. So that's when your sender domain to be verified. These are basically digital signatures that tells the receiving mail servers this email is genuinely from who it say from. Without this, you will land in a without this you will land in a spam, regardless of how good your content is. And second, clean. Every newsletter must have an unsubscribe link. So this automated. Do not let requirement, and it protects your sender's reputation. Zero spam, and third is zero spam trigger words. Words like free, guaranteed, limited offer, limited time offer, click here, make money. This triggers spam filters. Keep your language clean and natural. And the fourth one is proper list hygiene. Regularly remove contacts who have not opened a single email in the last 6 months. Sending to unengaged contact tells mail server do not want your email. Damage your reputation and pushes future email in. And one is text version are included in your newsletter. Every HTML email should have a plain text version traveling with it. Some email clients block the HTML. If there is no plain text backup, this reader see a blank email. Zoho campaigns let you add this easily in the Zoho setup. Let's move on to the next slide. The fifth pillar is the measurements. Let's say you have the reports you have to regularly check. Numbers only matter if you know what to do with them. A lot of teams look at their campaign reports, see a bunch of percentages, close close the tabs and move on. That is not how you improve. These three metrics are the major part for your measurement. The first one, did they obtain the benchmark from SMEs is 20 percentage and above. If you below 20 percentage, your problem is most likely your subject line or your list quality. And the second one is click rate. Did they act on it? Good is 2 percentage and above. If your open rate is decent, but your click rate is low, your problem is inside the email. Either the content is not compelling enough or the CTA not clear enough. And the third one is unsubscribe rate. Did you lose them? Keep this below 0.5 percentage. If it is above that, you are either sending too frequently or sending irrelevant content or both. That's when your targeted audience get frustrated and started unsubscribe you. That is what that will increase this percentage. It's like the three non-negotiable of email marketing. Now, before I show you the last, honestly, most important part, I want to bring everything together with the three non-negotiables. Right person, right message, right time. Every single pillar we covered today fits into one of these three. Segmentation, the right person, template, and the content. Right message, and the scheduling it in the right time. It's all put together to make your newsletter is winnable. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay, this is the slide. I exactly want to show that everyone can build a newsletter, but this is what makes them win, because this is where you can actually stand out from the crowd, from your competitor, from the AI generated generic one. Everything we covered in the five pillar, that is the foundation, and it is important. But I want to be honest with you. Any team can set up that up with the right guidance. Even AI can help you execute most of it. And I'm about to tell you this is what separates a newsletter people act forward read from one that quietly get ignored. These four things are the major part. First, design for the readability, not just looks. Clear visual hierarchy plays the major part. So the reader's eyes knows exactly where to go. Font size that is comfortable. A newsletter that is hard to read gets closed in 3 seconds. no matter how good the content is. When you design, think about the person reading it on their phone at 9 a.m. Make it effortless for them. The second one is a story. Every newsletter has a story hiding in, inside it. This is the one I feel most strong about. Every newsletter, whatever the topic, has a pain triggered it. For today's webinar, the story was me researching newsletter for Spikra. The realization most brands are doing it completely wrong. That frustration is what triggered this webinar. So for this, we eventually included this story in the newsletter which I promoted this webinar. Let's say another example. For a product update, what problem made that feature necessary? For a case study, what breaking before the solution arrived? Find the story around the topic you are choosing for the webinar. For the newsletter. Your important role is to find the story before getting into the newsletter. So that is what makes people feel like they are doing something real, not someone's or sorry, not something that was scheduled by a tool. And the third is 70% text, 30% image. The image should be small, written, and that to support content, not to fill space. And the text itself 200 to 400 words. And my major sweet spot for writing the newsletter was 200 to 400 words. So this is enough for you to write the story properly, short enough to respect that time. If the content is too small, they don't know what the newsletter is. If the content is too large, they never gonna read that fully and never gonna get what this newsletter was telling. And the fourth one is CTA. One click, one action. That is what every CTA must be, which is done in 60 seconds. If your CTA says register now, clicking it should be open the registration page immediately. And the action should be completable in under 60 seconds. Every extra step between the click and the completion losses you people. Make it frictionless. These four things are difference between a newsletter that gets a result and that's not it. Okay, now let me roll out the demo of the Zoho campaign and how I implemented the newsletter in Spikra. Let's see the template too. This is the demo account I want to show you for an example. This is the exact visual dashboard which you can see in the Zoho campaign. In dashboard section, you can see the newsletter which you sent recently, and you can know which is sent, which is scheduled, which is in a test, which is in draft, all in this dashboard section. Actually, this is a demo account. That's why discounts are low. Next, in campaigns, under email campaigns, that's where you choose to create your newsletter. This is a drafted one. I kept it for easy to teach you. If you want to create a new, you actually click it in the right here. Click campaign, regular email. Under this, you have a create new option. That's where here this is how you have to create a newsletter. In this, you have to add the subject line, and here is the thing, have to add the sender details. And here is the recipient, which you have to link your segmented list here. And in the content, you have to your template. Either if you have any saved templates, you can use it in here. If you don't have, here is Zoho Canvas have a pre-designed templates. If you come your phone and from scratch and want a simple template, you want to go with this basic templates. For free templates, here you have a free templates. Now I want to show how actually in a Zoho campaign you can also automate your newsletters, your email campaigns under automation section. Now let's go to our Spikra template. So here is the launch options, whether you can actually send it immediately or you can schedule it later. If you want to send your newsletter or to exactly for what your recipient's time zone, you have to choose it here. If you want to send it in a batch, you want to switch it to here. If you want to fixed time, so it here and set the time and the date and time zone. Then schedule it. That's it. This is the subject line I used for this webinar this Friday. Turn email into your strongest client channel. The subject line I never show. This is the webinar newsletter. Without that, I triggered this webinar is done on Friday. That's why this webinar this Friday is used. And for the relevance and the pain I want to show in the subject line, I use this turn email into your strongest client channel. I show the intent of the newsletter in this subject line itself. Then in the sender address, these are the things I included. The recipient, you actually see what I was attached to. One CRM campaign list, which is segmented especially for the campaign, and the newsletters. Under this edit second, you actually add the list from your CRM itself. Here we go. Content template which I used. This is the basic template I was using for every webinar. By changing the content and the posters, that's where I need to change. It's a template. It's a common webinar. If I want to put any feature, I'm going to use a different template for that, because this template itself shows your existing client or existing reader that this is exactly what this poster to be. Sorry, what this newsletter to be. In the starting, I started with placing the logo and in the header, I start with the header and the common thing of the story which connects the audience. In this, these are the story which I included for the newsletter. Under this, I actually this is a webinar post. I included the story of why this webinar is matter for the reader. That's what the story will tell them. And under this white box section, this is what the webinar details are included. And I started that with the that's exactly what this Friday is about. And fourth, the CTA button. I used the register now button, and then I have an image which is included and which is relevant to the newsletter. If people want to go through the newsletter immediately, they scroll down here and read it. Oh, this is what the newsletter was. And in the photo section, this is what I included. And the social links. Actually, this is a predefined template. That's why the unsubscribe link was not shown. If we send that newsletter, it's actually activated with the unsubscribe link itself, because we already set that in a Zoho campaign. Okay, let's now switch to a slide. Okay, let's finally come up this slide. If you have any questions, I'm all here. The floor is yours now. You can actually shoot your questions in your mind in the chat box. I guess people are clever and got the point winner. That's why they didn't have any questions in the chat box. Okay, let's wind up this session. Thank you for the webinar, and I'm happy to tell you what I'm learned and about working with this webinar. I hope this webinar helps you to understand something that you need for your newsletter. And one more thing I have to share, that if you want to learn more about the Zoho apps and how to implement it with the right with the business, you actually check out our YouTube, in which we actually have a lot of videos to this. with the Zoho apps. Thank you for joining.